you ever felt like no matter how much you give in a relationship, you're still just not good enough? Well, toxic shame could be the hidden reason. Toxic shame can manifest in different ways depending on your attachment style. On the one end, people can overcompensate with things like perfectionism, overworking, or people-pleasing. On the other hand, perhaps they withdraw, self-sabotage, or isolate themselves emotionally. But the reality is, toxic shame is a deeply ingrained belief of being unworthy, and that is what drives these behaviors. It's about protecting oneself from the feeling of being seen as not good enough. To heal and open up to healthier relationships, we need to address toxic shame and its related coping mechanisms. In this 4-part video series, we will explore a definition for toxic shame and its origins, plus an exercise to connect to shame in your body. We will also look at signs of toxic shame organized by attachment style and how to heal the associated negative beliefs with 4 archetypes for healing and sample cognitive reframing exercises. We will also look at the benefits of healthy shame versus toxic shame and how to know the difference using a creative exercise and the symbol of a mask. And lastly, we will heal simple and complex emotional blocks due to toxic shame with a nature-inspired art therapy technique. Each video is going to have an educational component paired with an experiential activity to embody your learning and give you practical tools to heal. Now, in our first segment today, we are going to explore understanding toxic shame as an emotional wound and how early experiences plant the seeds of shame. This is going to include a guided visualization exercise and art activity to help you identify where the shame lives in your body. So stick around, because once you understand how toxic shame operates in your relationships, you'll be able to stop self-sabotaging and build deeper connections while feeling worthy of love and capable of experiencing fulfilling and secure relationships. Now, if you don't know me or you are new to my channel, my name is Brianna McWilliam, and I'm a licensed and board-certified creative arts therapist with almost 20 years in the field helping thousands of conscientious adults attract and keep loving and secure relationships, using a psycho-spiritual approach to healing attachment styles with art therapy techniques. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates for the rest of this video series. Be sure to let me know your thoughts or personal experiences in the comments below. And with that, let's dive into our topic for today. So first, let's look at toxic shame and understanding its relationship to our survival mechanisms. So when was the last time, in the midst of a heated argument, your partner said to you, "You know what, you're right. I was wrong and I was acting from a deep place of shame"? Well, I bet it's hard to remember, or maybe that's never happened to you before. Why is that? Well, people don't usually express their shame outwardly. Instead, they express the wall that they have constructed around it. These walls represent the defensive and protective survival responses, which we might eventually be able to qualify as an attachment style. For example, Andrew leans towards avoidant attachment and uses things like perfectionism as a defense. He believes that if he is flawless, it will protect him from criticism or reproach. But this keeps him emotionally isolated while hyper-focused on success and control. And so as a result, he becomes cold and rigid and suffers with constant performance anxiety while repressing his true thoughts and feelings. On the other hand, we have Anna. And Anna is more of an anxious open heart, and she prioritizes other people's needs above her own through a habit of people-pleasing. She believes that if she can earn people's approval, then she can avoid their judgment and rejection. But she winds up ignoring her own needs and boundaries, which leads her to feeling used and unseen in relationships where her needs are neglected. And then we have Tim. Tim gets lost in fantasy and desperately wants to be loved. He can slip into infatuation very quickly, but then pulls back just as abruptly to avoid failed expectations. Then Tim shuts down and withdraws emotionally, distancing himself, sometimes without explanation. While this feels like protection, it isolates him further and prevents the connection he deeply craves. It also leaves him feeling depressed and lonely, with little motivation or passion for life because he thinks it's better not to try than to try and fail, and he believes he will always fail. Now, in some cases, toxic shame can also be dumped on the family scapegoat, where individuals bear the blame for the family issues, reinforcing their sense of being flawed. This role can follow them into adulthood, leading them to become the rebel, a cycle breaker, or the truth teller of a family, refusing to quietly carry the mantle of the family's dysfunction and the shame that comes along with it. Now, on the other hand, they may succumb to the shame heaped upon them and internalize it, turning to things like addiction to numb the pain and continue to carry the weight. Healing is possible when individuals recognize that the armor they wear, while once protective, is now limiting them. And so by confronting their shame and evolving these defenses, they can embrace vulnerability and build deeper, more authentic relationships. Now, does any of this sound familiar? Do you see toxic shame popping up in your experience or your relationships? Leave a comment and let me know. Now, you might be wondering, well, how might someone learn to let go of defenses like perfectionism, people-pleasing, withdrawal, or short-term escapes, and instead confront their shame and heal it so they can build these healthier, more authentic relationships? Well, in just a moment, we are going to do a gentle, introductory, exploratory exercise together. But first, it's important to understand the origins of toxic shame and how it forms. So toxic shame often stems from childhood trauma, where the child's emotions are met with disapproval, neglect, or rejection. For those who've experienced controlling behaviors from narcissistic parents, for example, they may have been assigned the role of the scapegoat child. In those cases, toxic shame can manifest in ways that fuel things like codependency or emotional disconnection. Lacking the understanding of adult emotions, children can interpret this as proof that they are flawed. Take Alex, for example. His father was emotionally distant, telling him to man up and dismissing his sadness and anger as overreactions. Instead of comfort, Alex is told that he's being dramatic, slowly internalizing the message that he and his emotions are the problem. And so over time, Alex becomes the scapegoat of the family, blamed for their issues, while his siblings avoid trouble and stay quiet. So his father criticizes him constantly, and his mother, although she may be sympathetic, fails to protect him, reinforcing the idea that Alex is the source of the family's problems. So in this scapegoated role, Alex absorbs not only his own emotions, but the family's collective shame. And by the time he reaches adulthood, these experiences have shaped his identity. Alex views himself as unworthy, and in relationships, even minor criticisms lead him to shut down or lash out, echoing the rejection that he experienced as a child. Now, on the surface, Alex may seem rebellious or emotionally unavailable, but these behaviors hide a wounded child who learned long ago that being vulnerable leads to rejection. His emotional defenses act as an armor to protect him from feeling that deep shame again. And so toxic shame becomes the lens through which Alex interprets all of his experiences. He gravitates towards partners who reinforce his feelings of being inadequate, and he tries to get them to love him in order to prove his lovableness to himself. However, if he meets someone that is more kind and secure, he can't let love in because he slips into thinking that he doesn't deserve it, and in fact could be harming the object of his love just by being with them. So healing begins when Alex confronts his toxic shame, recognizing that his childhood experiences were a reflection of his family's dysfunction, not his true or inherent worth. Only then can he dismantle this emotional armor and reconnect to his own authentic self, free from fear of rejection. Okay, so how might someone like Alex learn to drop the emotional armor, heal from toxic shame, start embracing invulnerability, and reframe the negative beliefs tied to his childhood experiences? Well, this is where today's experiential activity comes in. Today's activity is derived from my highly effective Attachment 101 courses, which are designed to help conscientious individuals, just like Alex, move from feelings of inadequacy, emotional disconnection, and self-sabotage to secure, loving relationships with greater emotional confidence. So today's exercise is just going to give you a gentle introduction to identifying the presence of shame in your body and to put a face to it so you can begin evolving that feeling and moving towards healing. So to begin, you want to find a comfortable spot and gather some art materials to work with. Crayons, markers, colored pencils will do. Now, first I'd like you to think about a recent moment when you experienced self-doubt or faced some form of criticism. It could be a moment where you felt inadequate, judged, or that you just weren't good enough. And I'd have you just jot down a few thoughts, words, or beliefs that came up during that time. So you might have thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'm always messing things up, no one really cares about me, I'm a failure, I have to work hard to prove my worth, things like that. Now, these beliefs usually surface in moments of shame, and it's important to acknowledge them as part of an internal dialogue that shame can create. Now, once you've got those terms written down, I invite you to choose some colors and depict how that feeling looks on the page. So you're going to imagine these thoughts and feelings as if they have their own shape, their own color and texture. Just imagine what might they look like if they were figurative. It could be abstract or realistic. So for example, maybe they feel heavy, dark, or hollow. Maybe they are sharp, jagged, or bumpy. Maybe they are thick, opaque, or dense. Try not to overthink it. Just let the image or the feeling come naturally and just put it down on the page. Now, once you've depicted this shame, imagine that these shapes or forms take up literal space in your body. You're going to drop a gentle inquiry inside. Where is this shame living inside your body? Now, your first instinct is usually correct, and I invite you to trust your body's response. Maybe it's in your chest, your stomach, your throat, or any other area. Just place your hand there and acknowledge it. Let that part of yourself know that you see it. Again, this is a gentle witnessing and acknowledgement. It is not a time to try to fix or heal anything. Just be with the feeling and recognize its presence and its role. And so as you sit with this part of yourself, notice if anything shifts in your awareness. So sometimes these parts of us might want to hide from being seen, while other times they are relieved to finally be acknowledged. Whatever you feel, just notice it without judgment. Once you've got that thread, then you can open your eyes, and on your page there, it could be on the same page or on a separate page, you're going to imagine that this form that you've connected to and that you've drawn can actually speak to you, that it has its own kind of sub-personality, if you will. And I'd like you to complete 3 I am statements or prompts as if you are this figure. So for example, I am heavy because I carry the weight of past rejection. I am dark because I hide in the shadows of self-doubt. I am sharp because I've built defenses to protect myself. So this is a way to help you further connect with and understand the emotional wound that the toxic shame creates or clings to, or both. Now that's as far as we're going to go today. We're just establishing a rapport and building safety in the body so that these shameful parts feel comfortable enough to communicate with us. Now these parts often carry a lot of information and even gifts, but they need to trust that we are willing to listen to them with patience and compassion before they are willing to offer them up and consider a new job placement. Now, by simply acknowledging your shame's presence in this way, you are taking an important first step towards healing. If there are aspects of this experience that you're willing to share or ask questions about, please feel invited to post that in the comments below. Remember that this is shared on social media, so just be aware of what you're sharing. And remember, this is only part 1 of 4. So be sure to subscribe and ring the bell, and you will be notified of our next installment and follow-up activity next week. But don't go away just yet, because I'd like to wrap this up with some final thoughts. Toxic shame is an internalized belief that one is inherently flawed or unworthy. And many assume it means someone is distant, unfeeling, or self-sabotaging due to things like perfectionism, emotional withdrawal, or defensiveness. But these behaviors are just survival mechanisms, protecting them from further rejection or judgment. So letting go of beliefs like, I'm not good enough, or I need to be perfect in order to be loved, is really key. Instead, we want to adopt new beliefs like, I'm worthy just as I am, and I can be vulnerable without fear. This helps open the door to fulfilling relationships without the struggle of hiding behind our emotional defenses. And my Attachment 101 courses are intended to guide you step by step through these challenges using a multimodal approach. Activities like the one we explored today help to bypass the defenses that toxic shame can build in our unconscious mind, helping us to feel more connected, confident, and less anxious as we learn to approach ourselves with more compassion. But you don't have to take my word for it. When Keturah decided to purchase my program, she was struggling with self-doubt and beating herself up because no amount of logic or rational insight could change her feelings. Through my course, however, she gained a better understanding and an empathy for herself and acquired the validation that she needed. But I'll let Keturah speak for herself.
I was frustrated. I was really irritated with myself because I felt like, why can't I feel the way I want to feel? It wasn't something I felt like I could do by myself anymore. I gained validation. That was really important for me because I felt like I was going crazy. I learned empathy, not only for myself to be easier on myself, but also to turn the tables and look at how the other person might be feeling. The art part of it was my favorite. I enjoyed being able to connect with my feelings in a very tangible way. For anyone who is considering it, you're probably feeling, why can't I get to where I want to be? And that's what this course is designed to do. I know what steps to take. I know how to heal faster. And you can use it however much you want on into the future. Teach it to your kids. It's a great investment.
Now, these results are not unique. My approach helps you feel more grounded and empowered while reconnecting to your creative spark and joy. To learn more, be sure to click the link attached to this video, and you can take a quiz to determine the best course for you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you found it helpful and insightful. Please leave your comments below, share your experiences if you feel comfortable, and subscribe to my channel for more content on building secure and loving relationships. Your support means a lot to me, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Have a great week.